Okay, we're here in New York City with our Italian friend Luca Quarta. Say hi, Luca.
Hi, everyone.
It was a big weekend here in New York. We had the Hairbrained Video Awards, we had the IBS show, we did a main stage presentation. Luca was one of our international artists that was nominated for an HVA, and we knew he was going to be in town for a few days, and we're such big fans of his work. We wanted to do a Hairbrained Live with him, kind of featuring his technique and helping you to get to know Luca. This is his model, Paola. Say hi, Paola.
Hi, Paola.
Paola is fluent in many languages, right? English, Italian,
like
Spanish. And she's going to help translate. Luca does speak English, but if he wants to really express something,
hey guys.
Paola will help in Italian. So Luca, are you having a good time in New York?
Yes, of course. I love New York.
Yeah.
It's my second time here.
Yeah, and you're enjoying it.
Absolutely, yes.
What do you have planned for your model tonight? For the haircut tonight for Paola?
I'm gonna do 70s technique. I learned in the first time for my mother, and today I want to change, modify this technique.
Like an update of a classic technique, yeah?
And
she has very, very thick hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to take a lot of the weight out.
She has a lot of hair.
A lot of hair.
And I'm going to go.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
So starting around the front, you're going to create a guideline at the front of the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you cut a clean haircut or will you do all point cutting?
For the first, clean line.
Okay.
Okay. And then in the end of the technique, I'm gonna do the point cutting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So andiamo.
Andiamo.
Kelly,
Pronti.
come around here so you
yeah.
can see.
Yeah.
So Luca, as you cut, tell us a little bit about where you're from in Italy and how long you've been a hairdresser.
I'm from the south of Italy. I live in a little village called Corigliano d'Otranto. And
say that one more time. What's the name of the village?
Corigliano d'Otranto.
Corigliano
It's a little village.
Yeah.
And I used to work with my sister Giada. Hey Giada.
Yeah, Giada's another incredibly talented Hairbrained member. That's how we discovered Luca and Giada. They were always putting up beautiful photos on Hairbrained, Instagram, Facebook, and tagging us. That they were being a big part of the global community, and you can see their incredible work everywhere. Okay, Luca, so tell us now, you're moving back into the haircut. Tell us a little bit about the technique. And if you want to speak Italian and have a little translation, that's great as well.
Okay, now I can speak Italian.
Cosa vuoi dire?
Allora, può dire che sto seguendo, sovrapponendo tutte le sciocche alla linea guida.
Sovrapponendo tutte
Okay.
le sciocche. Okay, so he's overlapping the original lines.
Okay, so you cut one guideline and then a little bit longer each time. So more dramatically short in the first guide, and then each line a little bit more long. Visual.
Yeah, so he said he wants to create a line. Da dove inizia la linea?
La linea inizia dal mento e finirà dietro.
Okay.
It's a very simple technique.
Yeah, very simple. Like a shake or a coupe sauvage. Are you familiar with those names? Those were like the haircuts of the 70s. The shag, the shake, the coupe sauvage. Very layered around the front, and then the layers get longer into the back and a lot of texture. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it makes sense in Italian too?
Yeah. In Italian is, we call this technique coda di rondine.
I don't know. Rondine, I think it's a bird.
Yeah, it's a type of bird.
So he called it like the like the back of the bird.
Oh, like a tail. Like a
swallowtail.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like a swallowtail or something
That's
like
how
that.
they call it in Italian, this hair cut technique.
Excellent. You know, for us with Hairbrained, you know, what we found over the years is that, you know, we work with hairdressers all over the world in all different languages, but we all end up finding common ground when we start to do the craft. You know, this weekend at the Hairbrained Video Awards, we had hairdressers. The biggest winner of the year came from St. Petersburg, Russia, Hairfucker. Our friends at Hairfucker were the Video of the Year winners. Luca was nominated in the Steps category with a beautiful video. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but you'll be back again next year, won't you, Luca?
Of course.
Yeah. So-
it was a big honor to be here with you and with the Hairbrained crew, and it was a great time to in the
Getting drunk with everybody?
Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
The free.
Frank Mussolino is watching, and he's helping us translate as well. We have many Italian, American Italians, and they're all helping with the translation, which is great. Thanks, Frank. He said the same. It's the tail of the bird. And then somebody translated from Spanish into it. Wait, rondino in Spanish is golondrina. Do you see this, Paula?
Golondrina.
Yeah. So now we have Italian into English into Spanish.
Il corte si chiama cola di golondrina o cola di rondine.
In Italia, coda di rondine.
Coda di rondine.
Can we talk about the sections that you're taking right now with your haircut?
La sezione che stai facendo adesso vorrebbero sapere cosa puoi dire.
Ok. È la stessa tecnica,
It's the same technique,
ok. Però tu hai un ciuffo,
but I have like
non hai una linea
a
centrale,
band.
ok?
So I don't have like a
Quindi
central
parte da
line.
qui.
So it starts from the bang.
E io faccio la stessa cosa.
So he does
Di
the same
prima.
technique that the rest of the other
Sembra
side of the hair.
differente perché qui c'è un ciuffo,
It looks different because I have a
non c'è
band
una linea al centro.
and I don't
ma
have
la
the
stessa
central
tecnica.
line.
So you have to visually match the first guide from side to side.
Yeah.
And then each time as you say, you're overcutting. Each section gets a little bit more long.
Stai facendo sempre la sovrapposizione dei layers per farlo più corti?
Hey,
Of
Gina.
course.
Yes. He said.
Now, tell us a little bit about your history as a hairdresser. I know you said your la mamma was a hairdresser, and then I was reading on your website. Then you went to
Same with
London.
Alberto.
Yeah.
You went to London and spent some time in London.
Yeah, of course. I started to work when I was very young. I learned by my mother.
So, in America,
Yeah.
the average hairdresser maybe starts like 18 years old. You go to a state school, cosmetology school, and you get a state test to take a license. In Italy, it's younger. You start younger,
Yeah.
usually as more of an apprentice.
Yeah.
So, at what age did you start training?
10.
10 years old. Sweeping, shampooing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in the family business. Yeah, and that's more
Hey,
common
Adam.
there.
Yeah.
What's up, Steve?
No, not necessarily going to school to get a license, but more
No,
training.
I
as an
started
apprentice.
just with my mother, and then when I met the Sassoon technique, I came to London to study the basic of
Che
the
età avevi
Sassoon.
quando ti sei trasferito a Londra?
Sono andato a studiare per la prima volta a 25 anni.
When he was 25, he went to London.
So you started hairdressing at 10 years old, and then at 25. So you would have been doing hair for 15 years before you
Yeah.
went to London.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we had a great question come in from Dana. She noticed that you're cutting dry hair. Do you prefer to cut dry hair or wet hair, or can you explain why you chose to cut dry?
In this case, I prefer to cut the dry hair because she has a lot of hair and curly hair.
Yeah, I have like 3 people's hair.
Yeah, Paola has 3 people's hair.
So it will be
Yeah, I
like
know.
very long if he started from 0 with me.
Excellent. So we're here tonight at the Crooked Fringe Movement, which is a studio, Simon Miller's studio, and he's somewhere out in the world. I saw him pop up on the feed here. I think Dre said you were in Switzerland or something like that. But Simon, sending you love from New York, and thanks for always letting us use this incredible studio right across the street from Madison Square Garden. DJ Muldoon and I will be here next month teaching a 2-day hands-on class called Scissor vs. Razor, right here in this space, which is super cool. And Simon, we love you. Safe travels, and we'll see you when you get back for some dinner. Adam Federico is watching. All the paisans are watching. Yeah. Frank Mussolino, Adam Federico, because we said you were going to be doing Italian-style haircutting. Frank Mussolino wants to know where in Italy do you work? So again, say the city because he.
Yeah, I used to work in the south of Italy, in a little village, in a J studio. It's a studio of my sister, and it's a very nice place. And
And is
Come
it
si chiama? Come si chiama la città?
the place called Corigliano d'Otranto.
It's in Puglia.
In Puglia,
Which-
it's a little village, but
That's a
it's
beautiful village. Okay, so now I noticed, so you worked around the face,
Yeah.
one guideline and then overlapping. Now you started to pick up and you changed scissors.
Yeah.
So why did you pick up and why did you change your scissor?
Ok,
Vuoi spiegare in italiano? Dai.
ok.
Perché hai scelto cambiare?
Ho cambiato le forbici perché ora sto facendo il diploid cutting.
He changed the scissor because he's doing now the deeper cutting.
So a different kind of scissor you feel
Yeah.
feels better for you when you're point cutting.
Preferisco una forbice più sottile e più leggera.
He prefers a more light scissors and more what? Leggera. Hai detto leggera cos'altro?
E sottile.
As subtle? Is that the
Subtle,
word?
softer, yeah,
Subtle,
okay,
yeah.
softer cut, yeah, I understand. Great, you have some friends watching. Ciao Luca, Haircraft by Bicey, maybe is a friend of yours, Haircraft, Ciao Luca. Or maybe they want to be a friend. Yeah. Ciao, I'm sure many of you have seen Luca's great work on Instagram and on Hairbrained. So tell us a little bit about you creating the photos. So we see a lot of, almost weekly, you put out 2 or 3 or 4 very beautiful photos.
Mm-hmm.
Are they your clients or are you looking for models? What's the process?
My client.
And what is your process of taking a good picture? What do you look for? What do you need? Maybe some materials? Do you need a backdrop?
Traduci Paola?
Sì. Cosa fai quando fai una foto bella, quelle che fai? Hai bisogno di un
What are some
fondo
essentials,
particolare?
essential needs?
Cosa cerchi?
Yeah, what makes a picture work for you?
Cerco la giusta luce e la giusta
The right light,
ispirazione.
the right inspiration.
Io sono un parrucchiere, quindi quando per me la foto è bella, va bene.
I'm a stylist, so when the picture comes great, I'm happy.
So you're not a photographer. You're
I'm
yeah.
just a dresser.
Yeah, but you have an eye. You know, when we look at your
Thank you.
work, you can see you have the eye for the
Thank you very
hairdresser. So Kizzy was asking where you trained in London, and Luca said when he was about 25 years old, he went to do some training at Sassoon. Now, I've always found, and maybe you can help with this translation, the combination of Sassoon cutting with Italian sensibility makes for a beautiful hairdresser.
Lui dice che ha sempre trovato una combinazione tra quello studio lì di Londra con la sensibilità italiana. Puoi dire qualcosa?
Because the technique and the structure helps you to do...
I think io penso che Sassoon è la base del taglio.
La base del taglio. I mean, I'm sorry, my English. He thinks that Sassoon is like the base, like mother base of hair.
The foundation of haircutting,
Yeah.
the Sassoon, the British method
Yeah.
in general, and then you combine it with the softness and the sex appeal.
Yeah.
That's what I always notice in your work when I look, even when you're doing kind of geometric work, there's always something a little bit more sexy about it than,
Yeah.
you know, perhaps just a strict or chic kind of look. And maybe sometimes it's the little imperfections, you know, that Italian sensibility. And I mean, obviously, you know, I think probably maybe one of the most famous companies for that is Tony and Guy.
Yeah.
Right? Take the British and the Italian and
Yeah.
mix it together.
Beautiful.
And it's a
Tony Guy.
beautiful...
I love
yeah.
Tony Guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, again, explain a little bit about the haircut as best you can.
Spiega un po'.
Sì, ho capito. Allora, devo dire che ora sto alleggerendo il taglio
He's making it more light, the haircut,
per rendere l'immagine più fluida.
to make the image more fluid.
And is there a certain pattern to the sectioning now after you created the frame around the face? Which way do you explain the sections?
So is there any pattern to make this change, or what are the sections like? Oh my god, I just
Speak
said,
English,
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
You're speaking too many languages.
I
Italian,
know.
Ho capito.
I'm sorry.
Do it in Russian.
Okay,
Ora
allora,
sto prendendo
Section,
delle ciocche,
vertical.
delle sezioni
he's taking the
orizzontali
sections, horizontal sections,
e le trasporto su
he's putting them out,
Elevating horizontal sections.
e alleggerisco col diploid cutting.
And he makes them lighter with the
deep point cutting. So now again, this is very visual haircut.
Yeah.
Very
Se
visual.
lei avesse
Usually had
molti meno
less
capelli,
hair, I'm sorry.
io dovrei solo lavorare in questo modo.
So,
Vai.
Ma questo modo cosa vuol dire? Sì, avresti
No
detto
elevazione, solo così.
If I had less hair, he didn't have to work on the elevating the horizontal.
right, because it's very thick, he has to lift it more to point cut and break it down. So first it was a face frame of overlapping sections, then lots of elevation and deep point cutting. Amy Leto, we are shoeless because it's a studio and we have about 5
Feet
to
of
6
snow.
inches of snow outside, and all our boots were covered in snow. And when we came in, the owner of the studio requested that
We take
not
our
get
nasty
snow all
boots
over our
off.
Wonderful, yeah. So generally we wear shoes, but today
Generally, we do.
we're shoeless because of the snow, and that we don't want to destroy this beautiful parquet floor. They have a photo shoot here tomorrow, and they didn't want our ice all over. Yeah, so the way that this works, guys, is you ask questions, and when you ask the questions, I then share them with Luca. So go ahead and continue your sections.
Ok.
Yeah.
Puoi dire qualcos'altro?
So what are you looking for now? When you look at the hair visually, what is it that you're looking to say?
Digli che voglio liberare i capelli, voglio alleggerire molto i capelli.
He wants to liberate my hair, make them more light.
I like that. Liberation of the hair. That's
Perché
fantastic.
quando uso lavorare sui capelli lunghi,
That's
io
when-
adoro i capelli che hanno movimento.
Because when he works with long hair, he loves the long hair with a lot of movement.
Excellent. Jonathan Kahns is a frequent viewer, and he's asking about how you move the scissor when you go to point cut. If you could show exactly the movement of your scissor when you point cut.
Puoi far vedere il movimento che fai con le...
Of course.
Nice. So you just bring your hand around, and you're trying to get the scissor very parallel to the hair shaft. Very parallel. Because if it was diagonal, the hair would get shorter and not lighter. Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan. Great question. So Dara Whip is asking, do you always move around so much when you work? Because you seem to be...
I love it.
Yeah. It's like that. If you remember, Vidal used to say it's like boxing.
Yeah.
You have to kind of stay on the balls of your feet and move around.
I love to move around
Yeah.
of the head because I can look the full image when while I work, no?
Yeah. You have to keep moving
Yeah,
to
because
visualize. Yeah.
No.
Step back and move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And Sarah Shaw, Luca doesn't always cut dry, but tonight Paola had very, very thick hair, and it's also quite curly, and he preferred to straighten it and cut it dry so he could see the weight removal. But he doesn't
Paula,
always...
do you wear your hair straight or curly primarily?
The last time, I mean, for the past month, it's more curly. But I must say that the last time I cut my hair was with Luca in September in Italy. And I was desperate to cut my hair again with him. So I'm very happy this is happening right now. He's very talented.
Thank you, Bob.
Gina Monsafi is watching, and she's a longtime fan and always watching. We just saw her at IBS and at our HVA party. She's asking Luca, who inspires you? And are there any particular hairdressers that you look to? Any magazines that you like to look at for inspiration?
Ok.
Chi è la tua ispirazione?
La mia ispirazione per il taglio di capelli?
Sì, qualcuno che guardi, uno che ammiri.
Sì.
people?
Ovviamente parto da Via del Sassoon.
So
E
inspired
non affine perché mi piace qualsiasi artista che abbia una visione differente e abbia qualcosa di nuovo.
Good
da
morning
dire.
from Thailand.
So it starts always from Vidal, but he always admired people who has a different vision and that they can put a different angle
Are
on.
there any particular Italian hairdressers that you find inspiring? Anyone that from Italy that people can look for inspiration?
Yeah,
Of course, Aldo Coppola.
yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Aldo Coppola per le acconciature è stato un grande maestro, secondo me.
Sono dimenticata cos'è una conciatura.
Ah? Allora,
Cavi?
puoi dire, Aldo Coppola è stato un grande
Aldo
maestro.
Coppola.
Mi ispira molto ogni giorno mia sorella.
His sister inspires him every
His
day
sister,
a lot.
again, as we mentioned earlier, Luca's sister is Giada Quarta. She's also does incredible work. Very often we feature it on Hairbrained, and very often it's just breathtaking. Yeah.
Io digli che adoro la tecnica della Moda Academy di Roma.
He loves the Moda Academy technique.
Sono dei miei grandi amici.
Are they from like Holland?
Close
Mode
friends.
Academy?
Moda Academy is from Rome.
From Rome.
Yeah.
Okay, Rome. Excellent. Excellent.
Che altro?
E gli altri grandi parrucchieri, io ho lavorato un po' nella moda.
You worked in fashion.
Eugene, per primo,
Of course, Eugene Suleiman. Yeah.
Franco, Guido e Luigi.
Nice. It's a good combination there. Are there, like, in America we have lots of young hairdressers now that use Instagram, and it's kind of a new movement where maybe they're not some of those legendary names that you were talking about. Is that happening in Italy? Are there young hairdressers that are just kind of creating something of their own? That maybe any names that you can think of that here we call them Insta famous, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Have you heard the term Insta famous?
¿Hai mai sentito quello? Quel termine?
No.
Insta famous?
Yeah, it's like a hairdresser who's putting out photos all the time on Instagram, and they become very, very popular. They start doing education and hair shows.
Okay.
Not traditional like you or I, who train at Sassoon. Is that happening in Italy?
C'è qualcun personaggio che sta facendo quello adesso in Italia che potresti
Se
dire un
c'è, non lo
nome?
conosco.
If exists, he doesn't know him.
So it's not really happening in Italy yet. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
It's interesting, I mean, it's a big movement here, and I think we're starting to see it in England, and then maybe it'll continue, throughout the rest of the world. Do hairdressers in Italy, do they use social media a lot to promote themselves and grow their clientele?
Sì, puoi dirgli che...
Tipo chi?
Non li conosco.
Ah, ma Luca, dai! Ti sta chiedendo se consigli qualcuno.
Ok.
Si consigli qualcuno che è un bravo stilista che mette tante immagini in Instagram che potresti dire
Ok.
la gente per guardare.
Mozzano.
Quanto?
Awesome. And you, I mean, is
Yeah.
it helping you build your business? I mean, I know you own the salon, you and your sister own the salon,
Yeah?
and working so much because you're always putting out pictures on Instagram. Is that actually building your business? New clients come
Quello ti
and say,
aiuta a portare nuovi clienti?
Sì, tantissimo.
excellent.
E anche Hairbrained mi aiuta tantissimo a portare nuovi clienti.
Here's a,
Also, her brain helps him to bring new clients, he says.
Hairbrain helps you, yeah, because we promote you and they see, and it's something great. Here's a great question from Frank Mussolino, our paisan. What is the average cost of a haircut in
Quanto costa un
Italy?
taglio di capelli in Italia?
Dipende, dal nord al sud. Può andare dai 100...
So in the south where you live.
in the south?
Sì.
Yeah.
Taglio di capelli nel sud?
Un taglio fatto bene, dai 50 ai 100.
From 50 to 100 euros in the south of Italy. In the
Yeah.
north is different.
Yeah. And when I was in Italy, I've spent a lot of time in Italy with hairdressers, and they do a lot of blow drying. Do you
Yeah.
still, like a lot of appointments for standing appointments for blow dries? Do you still do a lot of that? Like a client maybe comes every week for a blow dry?
Sì, vuol dire che si usa in Italia andare ogni settimana in
Very common,
una
because
volta,
the
due
women-
volte perché le
One
donne
time,
vogliono
2 times
avere
a week.
One
Yeah.
time. And I mean, that's good. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's good because it's income that you can always count on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have 10 women that come twice a week, it's the beginning of your business, yeah. Excellent, guys. Thanks for all the questions. I'm going to look through here. Now, again, what are you adding to the hair? What type of product is that?
It's oil.
Cos'è?
Oil.
Oil. What
Is it-
kind? Oil.
It's like argan oil.
Beautiful. For the long, thick hair.
Do you ever use a razor? Was one of the questions. Do you always cut this way with the scissor, or do you sometimes use the razor?
No, I don't like razor. I like just scissors and straight scissors. I used to use Matsuzaki and Jewel, and
So yeah, there are lots of questions about scissors. So you don't use a razor, you only work with straight scissors, no thinning scissors, just the straight scissors. Is that a Sassoon influence for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Sassoon influence for you. And you said you like to use Matsuzaki. Matsuzaki is very popular in Italy.
Yeah.
And Joel, which is the timeless scissor. Excellent. So what's the step now? Now you're just feeling the hair, looking at the weight, and deciding, you know, if there's anything else that needs to happen?
Devo dire che ho finito di tagliare
He's done cutting.
e adesso voglio sporcare la texture. Voglio sporcare, like dirty
He wants to.
dirty style.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah. So he wants to make a cut like dirty with oil.
So it lived in to bring out the texture, dirty with oil. I mean, I notice in a lot of your pictures there's a strong haircut, but also strong styling,
Yeah.
which I think that's the Italian part mixed with the English part. Huh?
Looking so good out the Madison Square Garden. Oh,
Dirty.
Jordy just.
I like the perfect haircut, hairline, but I don't like the perfect hair.
Yeah, it's
I like the movement, I like the natural shape.
yeah, it's kind of combining the precise and the organic in the finishing, yeah, and deconstructing. And I think again, that's the beautiful combination of the British sensibility and the Italian sensibility.
Okay.
Our good friend Adam Federico, do you know Adam Federico through Hairbrained? Adam,
Federico.
yeah.
I love Adam Federico.
Does Luca utilize any type of texture scissors as well? No, he doesn't. He only uses straight scissors, Adam. That's kind of his Sassoon influence, but then he works to soften, and then he works a lot with his hands. Rob Shumsky is watching. Pretty cool to watch hairdressers from all over the world. Thanks,
Baby
G-Money.
girl, you're looking good.
What's up, Rob? Along the same lines as inspiration, who does he like? What do you look for? Do you still take classes? I mean, I know you mentioned you train with Sassoon. Do you still go out to take training?
Ancora prendi lezioni a volte?
Sì?
Sì?
What was what's some of the education that you've taken that you like?
Ho iniziato con l'ABC di Sassoon.
Vabbè, hai fatto lezioni ultimamente?
Ho fatto un seminario a Londra.
You did a seminar in London. Quando è stato quello?
Un anno fa forse.
Like a year ago.
Great. Yeah, guys, just looking for questions to share with Luca. So let us know what you want to ask him about hairdressing in Italy or any type of techniques. And just to let you know, we're in this beautiful studio here called the Crooked Fringe Studio, which is Simon Miller's studio here in New York. He's graciously, even though he's somewhere over the Atlantic in Switzerland, he's graciously allowed us to use it here. Okay, so what's the purpose of the braid? To make texture?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put the product in and then braid it and try to bring out some texture.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Yeah, it almost works like a kind of a teasing or like a backcombing. Creates texture and body.
Sure did, Lupe.
Wow. Love it.
Beautiful.
Voila. Well, that's
Voila.
French. That's French. What do you say in time? Presto. Or,
Finito.
Finito!
Finito. Voila. Great. Let's see if there's any other great questions for you. Oh, here's a very important one. Very important question.
Okay.
From Mattia Steven. What Italian football team do you support?
Oh.
Che mi hai detto?
Che squadra di calcio ti piace? Dall'Italia?
Italy. Just Italy.
Just
la nazionale.
National team? National team. Okay. Excellent.
That's a safe question. That's a safe answer.
Not
He probably doesn't watch any sports.
Juventus. Frank Mussolini likes Juventus. You like Juventus?
Guardi my
Yeah,
calcio.
I like Juventus.
I don't watch many sports either. So do you watch sports?
No.
No.
No. I knew it. I knew it.
Me neither. Now I noticed you do ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Now, huh? I saw you.
I'm a biker.
Harley Davidson.
Of course.
Are you an outlaw? Outlaw
Yeah.
biker?
I love bike.
Do you have tickets? No.
I have a old Harley Davidson from the 90s.
Oh, nice. Nice. You have to meet Julian Perlingero, who's our host for West Coast.
Yeah.
He's got 5 Harleys.
Today I saw the Harley Davidson store in New York.
Yeah. Was that inspiring for you?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Excellent. So now just working with the fingers, a little bit of back combing, and voila.
Voila.
Let's see this finished look here. Rocking that gold. Look at that. How does it feel, Paula?
Feels great.
You love it?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Come on in here, Luca. Our guest, Luca Quarta from southern Italy. He was here in town for the HVAs. He'll be back next year, I'm sure of it. We love him. We love his sister Giada. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.